Hi everyone, my name is Sunny Mullen. I am the Director of Outreach for Help Hope Live. Thank you for joining our Hope Talk today on special needs planning. I'm going to give it another minute or so to let more people enter the Zoom, and then we will get started. So thank you so much, and we will be back with you in a minute. And also just a reminder that you can put any of your comments in the chat section, and we also have the Q&A section for any questions you may have throughout the Hope Talk. So please feel free to interact with each other and ask questions of our panelists. We're excited to be able to have this conversation with all of you today. So we will get started in just about 1 minute here. Thank you guys for joining us. Okay, so let's get started. As I said, my name is Sunny Mullen. I am the Director of Outreach for Help Hope Live, and we are very happy to have this group with us today after a couple months of planning and replanning and rescheduling. I'm so thankful they were all able to join us and stick with us throughout this process. My name is Sunny Mullen. I'm the Director of Outreach for Help Hope Live. For those of you that aren't familiar with us, we are a national nonprofit whose mission is to help those living with catastrophic injuries and illnesses to go into their communities and fundraise for their medical expenses and related costs. So please give us a shout out, give us a look on www.helphopelive.org. Check us out and see if we could help you start fundraising today. And we are joined by some very wonderful guests. I have Josh Fishkind here from Hope Trust, Greg Scott from Equitable Advisors, and Lauren Shevchuk, one of our Help Hope Live ambassadors. So I will let them introduce themselves. Josh, if you want to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Josh Fishkind. I am the co-founder and CEO of Hope Trust. By way of background, I'm an attorney and MBA, and came into the special needs planning world because I have a loved one with special needs. And the planning for special needs is really complicated, and we're here to help make that a little easier. I have an amazing team who isn't here today of nurses, psychologists, social workers that are all a part of the Hope Trust ecosystem that are what make our platform work. And I really look forward to telling you more about how we do that and how we might be able to help you.
Thank you so much. Greg?
Yeah, again, thanks to everybody for showing up today and taking time to hear about planning for special needs. I am a financial professional with Equitable Advisors, also locally known as Carr Barth Associates. I specialize in my practice working with special needs families who have special needs members, and it is just great to be here. The way I got involved in it in working with special needs families was actually directly. I've been a hockey coach for 35 years and worked with the Philadelphia Flyers sled hockey team. So for 10 years, I lived, breathed, traveled with families that had special needs members. And then in the last 2 years, the Hope Trust platform was brought to our attention as a company. And I jumped right on top of the program and have become good friends with Josh over the past year, and working with local families and helping them plan for special needs, not only just with the special needs family member, but working with families as a whole in their long-term planning.
Awesome, thank you. And Lauren, if you could just give us a little introduction as to your connection with Help Hope Live, and we'll get into your connection with Hope Trust a little later.
Absolutely. My name is Lauren Shevchak. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. This is going to be an awesome topic. In 2013, am I cutting in and out? Is my sound okay?
You're fine.
Okay, good. In 2013, I was paralyzed from a fluke diving accident as a C5, C6 quadriplegic and joined Help Hope Live shortly after, thanks to my brother-in-law who set up our account. And ever since then, we've been fundraising, and yeah, Help Hope Live has absolutely changed my life and my quality of life. It's allowed me to explore different physical therapy options, as well as get a bunch of uninsured medical expenses. Unfortunately, insurance does not help you as you get further along in your injury. I'll be 10 years injured next year. So Help Hope Live has been there every step of the way, and I am very blessed to be a part of this today. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, Josh, let's get into it, because this is such an important conversation for this community, as we've all been touched personally in different ways. And can you just break it down for us at the very beginning? What are the basics of a special needs plan? What does that even mean, a special needs plan?
Yeah, it's a complicated topic, and it's a topic that families have a lot of difficulty even getting started with, because there isn't one special needs planning resource center generally where you go to and get a comprehensive answer. A special needs plan should start with a life care plan. And a life care plan is a document where we learn everything there is to know about the person with challenges. So that could be medical history, financial information, daily living needs, social needs, educational background and employment goals, and kind of what their interaction with the community and their daily life is going to look like, because that guides the rest of the planning process. A plan should include a proper estate plan, both for parents and caregivers, but also the individual challenges. This could mean wills, living wills, powers of attorney, special needs trusts. And I just want to note there that if you have a first party special needs trust set up, like from an accident, you may also need a third party special needs trust for money that's coming from other people in your life that are going to be setting up a trust. So those are kind of the fundamental documents, but also a plan should be inclusive of all of your advisors. We should make sure that your home health care provider is in sync with your accountant for what deductible expenses may be, and how that ties in with your investment strategy and your life insurance strategy, and then the overall legal architecture. No one type of advisor can actually answer all of the questions that come up. You need an expert in each area who has exposure to special needs planning.
So in that, coming off of what you just said, I'm going to jump around a little bit here, because you really led right into one of our other questions, in that who should be involved in this then? You just kind of named off the team. You really, and it is so important to have that team around you. How do you even go about finding this team? Do you need a lawyer? Do you need, who are these people that you're finding? Do you have advice for people?
Yeah.
Let me just keep rattling off questions at you.
Please, please. So when you're putting together a team, it's critical to make sure that everyone on board has special needs planning experience. And that applies to each aspect of the planning that you're doing. So let's just take something like estate planning. Lots of us go to a trusted estate attorney to draft our wills, and generally speaking, that's fine. Except when you're doing special needs planning, you really need to be creating a special needs trust. And not every trusted estate attorney is an expert in creating special needs trusts. And don't get me started on the people who go to their brother-in-law, who's a real estate attorney, who says, oh, I got it, I'll take care of it for you. It does not work out well.
Everyone has a guy, right, Josh? Everyone has a guy.
Don't go to that guy. Go to somebody
Yeah.
who really knows the space.
Yeah.
You probably have some home health care or therapists who are involved in providing support. They should be involved in the planning process. What does the trajectory look like? What are costs for those therapies look like? What does your therapy look like over time? Is this a short-term kind of therapy, or is this a lifelong need? When we get into the financial piece, and here Greg is an absolute expert, and I'll turn it over to him in a moment, but there's financial planning that every family does, like what's going to happen in my retirement. And that's very different than the financial planning of how do you support somebody who has a physical or mental health challenge for the rest of their life. Very different questions with very different answers. So building this team, there's a couple of ways to go about it. Please call us and we're happy to help. If you're trying to do it independently, look at organizations like the Academy of Special Needs Planners. Look at the Special Needs Alliance. Those are attorneys who have shown a expertise in special needs planning. When you're looking at certain types of financial advisors, there's a designation called a chartered special needs consultant that's very valuable. But over and above that, look for people who have meaningful dedication to the space, not somebody who says, yeah, I do that sometimes. Find somebody who's on a board, has, worked with people with challenges over the years so that you can see that they know what they're talking about. They have exposure and they have sensitivity to what's going on.
So is a lawyer necessary to this process though? Because we know that, out of that entire team, a lawyer could possibly get very expensive. And I'm sure most of these individuals could get expensive, but just in general, is a lawyer necessary?
A lawyer is necessary.
Okay.
I want this to be more of an educational discussion than a Hope Trust pitch. But what I do want to tell you is we have a great network of attorneys where we can get you access to much lower cost legal work than may otherwise be available. But setting up a special needs trust is complicated and it has state by state nuances. But it's a critical part of this process because if you don't have a special needs trust set up, or properly phrased, a supplemental needs trust for third-party money, meaning if you had an accident and a first-party trust is set up, you got money from an accident, that goes into a first-party trust because the person with the injury is the one, it's their money going into the trust. A third-party trust is when it's mom or dad's money or grandma's money is coming in, and that doesn't go into a first-party trust. We want that to go into a third-party trust. That's going to require an attorney to set up. And it's important that you get an attorney who knows what they're doing in this space, because absent that, the trust might not be valid. It might not protect any government benefits that are being received. It might be really hard to administer. The wrong parties could be named in providing that trustee role. Our platform can help in drafting that trust, and that's why we have those relationships with attorneys. But just make sure you're dealing with somebody who really understands special needs trust drafting. And yeah, an attorney is really a critical part of the team, as is a financial planner.
So as anyone really in this community or watching probably is already very experienced at creating those teams, having one more challenge to get through and, navigating these worlds. And with that, we've kind of gotten away from ourselves a little bit. So I want to bring it back even to Josh, you are here as the CEO of Hope Trust. Even though I know you said you don't want it to be a pitch for Hope Trust, you brought us all together. So I really do want to let you have the chance to, what is Hope Trust? What brought us all together? And how do you work into the process of special needs planning?
Well, thanks, Sunny. I appreciate that. So Hope Trust is a pretty unique organization. We, at the start, are a technology platform. And through the technology, you can create a comprehensive special needs trust. You can draft your life care plan all through a guided system. We can build out a document vault with permissioned access so that different people in your family can see different things. So maybe some people see finances and some people see health information. We can do comprehensive budgeting and show how much money might be needed in a special needs trust to last somebody's lifetime. Track medications and service providers. And all of this is done in a really integrated way so that, firstly, for those who may not be in a position to advocate for themselves as well, where they're reliant on their parents or caregivers, that the next set of caregivers actually can understand everything going on and make sure all of that nuance carries forward into the future. Even for those who are in a position to advocate for themselves, it's critical that all of the advisors can get on the same page and understand what's going on. So we know what kinds of therapies, what kinds of medicines, what kinds of financial plans an individual has, and integrate that into the estate plan, integrate that into the financial plan. People's lives are very complicated. and adding in an injury or special needs in general makes it exponentially harder. So bringing all of that information into one platform is critical.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to say personally, and again, we are not here to tell you to use Hope Trust by any means, but we were lucky enough to get hooked up with their organization. I watched the webinar of your summary of Hope Trust, how to use it. It is overwhelming, and they do make it easy to use. So to be able to have all of this in one place, and this is a platform that as a Help Hope Live client, we can help you fundraise toward, which is really important. So it is overwhelming. And I know that this process can be overwhelming. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Josh.
not at all. I want to
add to that
yeah,
complicated answer.
I'm going to build on that. Help Hope Live is an amazing partner between Hope Trust and you guys because it can help you pay for some of our services. And those services don't stop at the technology. Our team is made up of psychologists, social workers, nurses, occupational therapists. So no matter what challenge you're having in life, we want to be your first call for a solution, whether that's looking for a new healthcare organization or a group home, or doing a government benefits analysis and seeing if there are more programs where you can be getting additional support. We have experts for every aspect of challenges that come up in daily life. And we really get into the weeds with our clients. I'm dealing with a client now who is on her way to a substance abuse rehab program. We organize that program. We're organizing the transportation. We have clients who are looking to purchase complicated medical devices, and we're sourcing those and helping them find the right ones and making sure they're appropriate. The last thing that we do is that team can flow through with you into Special Needs Trust Administration. And it's worth noting that not every bank or trust company is either willing to serve on a special needs trust or very good at it. And those are two different criteria, right?
Yeah.
So even if they're willing to do it, ask the question, who on your team understands special needs? Are they a psychologist? Are they a social worker? Are they a nurse? You might be unpleasantly surprised by some of the answers. What you want to make sure is that when your trust is being administered for a loved one, that somebody's really going to understand what's going on, because people are complicated. Special needs make it even more complicated. Somebody's got to dive in and say, yeah, I really understand autism or a spinal cord injury or a traumatic brain injury. And we know what kind of resources and support they're going to need and how that interplays with the trust and the broader goals of the family.
And speaking of autism, and I just see a question come through, and not to even have to answer very specifically, but can people have the first person trust and a second or third person trust all at the same time? Do you only have one or the other? How does that function?
It's a really good question. Autism is a group that we, or the autistic community, we work with quite a bit. In fact, if you're going to the, I know that you guys are Philadelphia located. We're going to be at the Eagles for Autism event in 2 weeks. So if you're there, please stop by. As to the trusts, two types, first party and third party. Very, very common to have both. And the linguistics get messy. So I apologize for this, but it's worth spending a minute on because it'll help in your discussions. A lot of people use the term special needs trust for both kinds of trusts. Correctly said, there are special needs trust and supplemental needs trust. A first party trust is a special needs trust. That's the scenario where it's the person's own money going into the trust, say an award from a court or an acquired injury, and you already had some money that needs to go into a trust. First party trusts are more restrictive and harder to use. So they're an instrument of last resort. They're not the goal. Third party special needs trusts are when it isn't the individual's money, but somebody else's. And that's really part of the financial planning process. So that is a third party or supplemental needs trust. In a third party trust, mom or dad or grandma are setting up the money. So very commonly, someone has their own money in their first party trust, and all the other money from everybody else goes into the third party trust. The other note on that is first party trusts are subject to Medicaid payback, meaning if you put $1 million into a first party trust from your accident, when you pass away, any money that's left over in that trust is subject to a Medicaid lien for any money Medicaid has paid out for you over the years. That is not true for a
Fun.
third-party trust.
Yeah.
The excess goes out to your family or whoever you designate the remainder to.
That's really important, really important. So with that, and I appreciate that explanation, it's such a, it's such an important distinction between both. With that, I do want to bring in Lauren. I don't want to, have her just sitting around, but I want to bring in Lauren real quick. If you're ready, Lauren, I know you might have someone else in the room there with you, but totally fine. But Lauren is,
Yeah.
as she explained, she's a long-term Help Hope Live client who, without our even knowing, got hooked up to Hope Trust, which is fantastic. And Lauren, if you could just kind of explain how you got hooked into Hope Trust, what maybe even were those conversations that led you to start the financial planning process?
Well, next Friday I'll be 28. So we're
Happy early
entering
birthday.
adulthood.
Yeah.
Yay. And with that, I'm back at school, and my goal is to re-enter the workforce in whatever way I can or see fit. And that being said, a lot of times a salary can potentially jeopardize the medical benefits you receive, especially if you're on Medicare or Medicaid or something like that. And unfortunately, I really need those benefits to be able to cover my health insurance, cover my doctors. But I would never want to jeopardize that by getting a career where I potentially couldn't be self-sufficient. And so the question came up, and my mom actually reached out to McGee, who put us in touch with Greg, about kind of financial planning for the future and where do we go from there? How do we navigate continuing to keep my benefits while also maintaining an income? How do we figure out, in the future, if you have been through a traumatic experience, that life is you never know what's going to happen. You really can't plan well, it's not that you can't plan, but you can never predict what's going to happen, and that's why the plan is so important. So luckily I have a really good care team right now, but at any moment that can shift. And so by aligning with Hope Trust, it's been really, really cool to have their support, to be able to create some sort of financial plan and be able to, it's cool to see a future goal. The goal is in
Awesome.
sight. And I just started working on my own plan, like through the technology that they have. And that's been amazing to have everything in one place. I think we forget how many ducks need to be put in a row. And so now I'm able to have them all there in one place. And my caregivers can have access, certain family members can have access, whoever I deem necessary to, taking care or helping in any sort of way in my life. So yeah, it's been a great merge. So thank you guys at Hope Trust and at Help Hope Live, because like you said, Help Hope Live does cover the fees of Hope Trust. And so that's been awesome to link the two.
Just
Thanks,
a
Lauren.
lot of hope all around.
All the
That's
hope.
true.
Woo!
All the hope. But with that, Josh, is it ever too late for someone to get started? Like, when, I know you said you want people to, which is the same for us, we want people to come to us as early as possible in the process. But what does that general timeline look like, if there is a general timeline even? Like, how is it ever too late for someone to get started with you guys?
The sooner the better is always the case. And because you have more options available to you, but better late than never is equally appropriate, right? So the sooner we start, we have more financial planning options. When you see the goals are further away, you have more time to create a comprehensive solution. You have more time to figure out what the steps are along the way and how we're going to achieve those goals. And families face different challenges at different times. So it could be that you have a child in elementary school and we want to help with creating an IEP. Our team can help with doing that. or that we're talking about transition planning as someone's coming out of high school. It could be that we're looking for government benefits or group home situations a little bit later in life, or we want to really get into that estate planning and financial planning, and we've delayed a little bit. But the sooner the better, but it's never too late to start. Let's dive into it.
And so with that, even does Hope Trust, it seems like you guys really stick with the individual and their family for their lifetime, just like Help Hope Live, really, but you really are here to see them through every transition of life.
That's exactly the goal. You nailed it, Sonny. Our goal is to say that when you're working with our team today, you're getting to know our social workers, our psychologists, our nurses. And if eventually we are serving as trustee, those are going to be the same people interacting with your family throughout their lifetime. So most of the time when you work with a trust company, the first time you ever speak to your trust officer is after the family members are gone and you're hoping you're dealing with somebody great. I hope that you'll see that we're great during your lifetime, help you all the way through the process, and then know your family's in good hands thereafter.
Yeah, and I also, going back to Lauren too, you said you're about to turn 28, you're trying to take more independence in your life. Can you, and maybe even Josh, speak to that transition into independence, into adulthood? Because I mean, Lauren, you're here as an independent person trying to do this for yourself, but then there's also parents and guardians that need to do this for their loved ones. What is it like? Because this can be a very scary and apprehensive time to start this financial planning process.
Do you want to take that?
Yeah, Lauren, jump right into that complex question. But how's it been, even just because I know, after knowing you though personally, you have been taking more independence in your life over these last couple of years. And how is that? And because I know that Hope Trust is now just helping you do that.
So just words. I feel like the past few years have been super scattered. Like, as you know, Sunny, I was doing a lot of traveling and kind of in different parts of the country. But now that I'm kind of like cemented and rooted down in one area, it's been really imperative to figure out what it is that I want to do and how I'm going to be as successful as possible. And we live in a world where we have to have jobs, we have to make money. And when you live with a disability, you have to figure out how to balance that with also what you do receive from the government, because it can be a very tight rope to walk. And luckily through Hope Trust, they've answered a lot of questions for me, and also for my mother, who, you know, as you know, my dad passed away last year. So she's now a single mom. And my full-time caregiver, and I also have a younger sibling, so she has a lot on her plate as well. And so they've been wonderful in helping her figure out you know, how does she balance her own financial future along with taking care of me, and how to like get my sister involved in all of this. So yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot to juggle. And quite frankly, Hope Trust, Help Hope Live, I'm a big team person, you know, so for me, the more people I can have who have the answers to my questions, the better, because quite frankly, living with a disability is difficult enough, and sometimes it can be really hard to find these questions on your own. And so to have a team with experience, with expertise, is super duper important. That's what I found personally in my journey.
And Josh, how do you guys help parents navigate, especially because it is such a scary time for the parents to be having this conversation, thinking about their own future, their children's future. And, you know, not every parent has a child that's as independent or as capable of being independent as Lauren is. How do you help them navigate, even maybe picking like who their team should be, or picking the right trustee for their child? Like what kind of conversations are you having with the parents?
Yeah, they're very nuanced conversations because everybody has different concerns. We have considerations of geography first, where we say, okay, who's in our network? What home health care services? What local resources can we bring to bear? Every state has different Medicaid regulations and different ways of interpreting their rules that we have to make sure we stay in compliance with. But no matter where a client is located, we've built a network of legal, financial, care resources that we can bring to bear. And then we want to really understand each family situation. There are things like when we're picking trustees. My preference generally is to lean towards a corporate trustee. And it's not just because I started a trust company. I will tell you, I started this trust company because my father asked me to be trustee of my brother's special needs trust. And I said, actually, that's a terrible idea. I love my brother and I want him to still love me. And if I've got to be the one to tell him no every time he wants something, he's not going to like me anymore.
You're right. Family and money don't always go together.
No, it's terrible. So I like to advise clients, look, maybe instead of picking the brother as the trustee, maybe you want to look at a role like a trust protector, who's somebody who has the ability to fire a trustee who's doing a bad job,
That's interesting.
but isn't
Yeah.
involved in all that daily nuance, right? Lauren and I had these conversations recently about creating a plan within her own family. Because the way the regulations work, you can only allow the beneficiary to have certain powers. So we have to find the right people to share the right responsibilities with, but we're creating a structure that's going to work and everybody's going to thrive. So balancing those responsibilities is critical.
Yeah, it certainly is very critical. And I do want to bring Greg into the conversation as we talk about creating our team. Greg is an important part of the team with us in doing this. And Greg, I want to ask you, why would a family need a financial professional, and how does that professional work within Hope Trust process of the planning?
Right. So just step back and reiterate what Josh said at the kickoff of our talk. You really do need, when looking at a financial professional, to help you with the planning side of things. You need to have somebody that is in line with and knowledgeable about special needs. It's the same thing. You can't just reach out. I mean, you want to have a team member that's an expert. So whoever that financial professional is that you reach out to, make sure that they have some level of connection to special needs. I know early on in my practice, before people that I would want to take on as with special need family members, I would have to, before Hope Trust came along, I would have to have my own network of lawyers that I would go to help design the trusts, and hope that they would have the expertise to put things together. Unfortunately, I've aligned myself with those people and found them out. Same thing, accountant is another part of your team that you need. Somebody that I can talk to that is, again, amenable to what the needs of that special needs family member are, especially if they want to go to work, because we've got to be very careful about not cutting into the government benefits that are necessary. So that's, stepping back, that's the big picture. So when I come into the picture, or a financial professional comes into the picture, they should be looking at it in really two levels. So the first level, obviously, is the special needs family member. What are we doing for them? What is the financial, pieces do we need to put into a trust? What are the financial pieces that are already in existence? I find a lot of families that I come across, unfortunately, focus too much on the special needs family members' financial needs, and then they kind of push everything else to the side, and they'll do their own planning for, whether it's for a parent, for themselves, or for the other siblings.
Everyone has their own puzzle piece.
And it's very complicated. And that's why when Hope Trust was brought to my attention through Equitable, I said, this has to be a permanent part of my tool in my toolkit to go to. And as I've worked with them over the past 2 years to get up and running with clients, it's become an integral part. We find that we are very aligned in exactly, and they've educated me even more than I had coming into the picture. But so specifically, when we're looking at Hope Trust and setting up trust, there's things like insurances that I have to bring to the table. Hope Trust does not have access, licenses to go out and get the insurances. You may need asset management and asset managers. My partners that I bring into the picture become the asset managers if necessary. For example, if you had a large settlement, it's the first time that families come across maybe $1 million or $2 million settlement. How are we managing that money for the long term? How are we looking at it? So those are the nuts and bolts that I bring, to the table, or any financial planner that works in the special needs space would bring to the table. The second part is stepping back and looking at the big picture. As I mentioned, it's the whole family. How is the family set up in their financial planning? Okay, and that's short-term, long-term, medium, midterm.
Medium term.
Yeah, the midterms coming up.
Oh, geez.
How and you really need to look at that as a family member. For short term, you're looking at what's in front of you. Am I buying? Do I have the insurances in place for my family in case there's some catastrophe? That could be auto insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance, long-term care insurance, long-term disability insurance. Are those things? In the mid-range, you're looking at, you have children. Okay. I have children. Well, they plan to go to college. Have you done any college planning for those kids? Again, we can't just keep worrying about and putting everything into our special needs family member. We've got other siblings that we need to worry about, and their goals. Are you going to buy a house? Are you going to buy a second home? Are you going to buy a vacation home? Things of those natures. Those are your midterm goals. And then your long-term goals are retirement planning, long-term care planning, and then eventually succession planning. So all of that has to be integrated into the complexities of the special needs planning, but it has to be done in kind of a parallel universe. You can't just do one or the other. You have to do both. And a lot of families, again, I find, it's so complex. There's so many issues that they're coming across. There's so many surprises that they're coming across. You have to have somebody in your team, the financial planner, bringing the tools in, but also helping you navigate through the financial twists and turns. We don't sit down with a client. Any financial planner worth their weight in salt would tell you that, you're not sitting down with somebody and just, giving them one plan. It's got to be a flexible plan. And everybody knows that's on this Zoom call that it's constantly changing. It's constantly going. And that's the great thing about Hope Trust and the platform that you work off of, is one of the questions that we ask as a financial advisor to somebody. One of the first questions is, what keeps you up at night? Well, it's a very easy question, right? When you have a special needs family member. Well, the Hope Trust platform helps solve that problem, because it gives you the ability to put a team together, get your arms wrapped around everything. Not only that, it allows you to check all the boxes so you can go to sleep at night. And that's the thing that really set off, my partnership with Hope Trust. And that is, they're going to help me help my clients check the boxes and go to bed at night. And that's
Absolutely.
huge.
Yes. So,
and then in the long run, not only that it's a living, breathing platform. It's not set. We didn't just set the trust up and walk away from it. We're adding things and taking things apart, and it gives family members that are the caregivers the control to manage all of that and get their arms around it.
absolutely. And thank you for that, Greg. And I do just want to reiterate, and the second question that I have for you, but I want to preface a little bit, is, as a national nonprofit and what we do in helping our clients fundraise toward their medical expenses, we work with a lot of populations that are underserved, that are on Medicaid, Medicare, that are on government assistance, and maybe don't think that they even have a financial future ahead of them. And the way that we help them fundraise and manage the funds allows them to keep their Medicaid, Medicare, and all of those assets and their benefits And so we are here to be a safe and reliable source of fundraising for that. For everything else that, we can help you fundraise for anything related to your medical condition, but anything else that might wrap into Hope Trust. And for those individuals that might think, I barely can scrap 2 pennies together. Greg, if someone doesn't consider themselves wealthy or can even see into their financial future, what do they still need a financial professional? What can you do for those individuals?
Right.
And we want to be sure that, as Help Hope Live, we are here to help all of you. We can help you fundraise toward Hope Trust. We can help you fundraise toward any of your medical conditions, no matter your financial situation. But Greg, if they don't think they have a financial situation, even what does a financial professional help them with?
Right. So the one thing, again, you don't have to be, you actually need a financial advisor or a professional in your life even more, because if you can't self-fund, and mistakes and big things come up, a catastrophic event like an untimely death comes up of an other family member, who maybe was a caregiver, or in the long term, a long-term care event, where that person, the last few years of their lives, needs somebody taking care of them. You need certain things in place: insurances, life insurance, long-term care insurance, disability insurance. We can look into that and understand and help you find ways to lay down those long-term foundational protective devices in your plan. So if somebody can self-fund, they can absorb at times a large financial catastrophic event. Somebody who maybe doesn't have those kind of means needs to plan for that and needs to put those tools in place to make sure that everybody's taken care of. That's everybody in the family, not just the special needs family member. That's everybody in the family, and that they're in place, and you need that advice. But having said that, you need somebody who is in the line and understands what's going on in this family situation, and looking at it as a whole. So it's almost more imperative that you talk to a financial professional about your future, to make sure that everything is in place so the big mistakes don't blow up a family, and especially
that's what we say every day. We
awake
don't want
at night.
Every day. That's what we're telling our community. We want them to come to us to start fundraising as early as possible, so that a medical crisis doesn't turn into a financial crisis.
Right.
Go see Greg and go see Josh to have the same thing, those same assurances in your life. And, as we start to wrap up our conversation, I really do want to thank everyone for being here and just reiterate, Help Hope Live is here to help you fundraise for everything in your life related to your condition. Hope Trust just being one of those multiple things that we can help you with on a daily basis. And I really just want to open it back up to Josh and Lauren and see if you have any other, lasting advice or last words that you want to give to the community about this process, or what your thoughts are here.
Lauren,
Josh,
you want to go
first?
No, Lauren, with that? Okay. No, that's Lauren saying I'm not talking.
Like, wait. Well, I've just been muted, but no, it's take it away, and I'll close her up if you want.
You got it. I just want to impress on everyone, the earlier you start, the better. Part of what Greg was talking about was planning for the emergency. You would be shocked at how inexpensive a life insurance solution might be when you're young, and how much harder that is when you're older. It's so much easier to start building a plan in stages, instead of when somebody's got a diagnosis where you're saying, okay, we got to get this done right now. Start when you have a little free time. Start younger. Let's start the process. It makes for a much smoother transition over time. Even things that you might not be thinking about, like, hey, I set up a 529C account for my child, a college savings account, and I realized they're not going to college. Maybe we want to convert that to a 529A, an ABLE account. We can help you with that process. The earlier, the better. And we're here to help you every step of the way. Help Hope Live can help you pay for the steps along the way. This is a really collaborative and integrative process, and you've got all of the resources collectively here to guide you through it. So please don't feel overwhelmed. We're all here to help.
Lauren, any lasting words?
Well, my biggest thing was I was incredibly afraid to kind of even venture into this at all. And since beginning it, the process has been super smooth and actually surprisingly easy. I think anytime we talk about finances, it can feel overwhelming, especially navigating that along with a disability. And the fact that Hope Trust has been there to really walk me, my mom, even my sister through kind of how we go about making sure that our future is secure, regardless what happens to me or any other family member. It feels very empowering. And honestly, like Josh was saying, I wish that I had done it sooner, but we're starting now and we're here and we're going to make the best of it. So yeah,
Thanks, Lauren.
of course.
And Greg, I don't want to leave you out. Do you have any lasting effects from the financial professional?
Yeah, well, I think, again, as Lauren said, it can be scary and overwhelming, and you shouldn't be afraid. If you reach out to the right people, they're going to help you through the process. I know, it's hand holding. Sometimes it's a little bit of a holding up a mirror and looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly. But if you have the right people in place, they're going to get you through it. I'll leave you with a great sage once told me how to eat an elephant, one bite at a time.
There we go. And with that, I think it's a perfect way to just end it. I really appreciate Greg, Josh, Lauren. For all of you watching, there will be a recording of this. It will live on our YouTube channel. You should get an email with the recording as well. And please share it. It's such an important conversation. Please go to Hope Trust's website, look into them, see if they're the platform for you, and come to Help Hope Live and let us help you fundraise toward it. So I really appreciate all of you coming today, and thank you. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you for setting
you.
this up.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sunny,
this
Greg,
has been wonderful.
Lauren, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
And helping us
Thank you guys so much. This is wonderful. Hope everyone has a great day.
today. You too.
Enjoy the sunshine, right? We finally got some.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.